What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. This week's edition of Smackdown aired last night. What happened? Was it good, bad, or downright ugly? Join us now as we look at that, as well as the latest news and rumors, including a WWE superstar losing his name, a former WWE superstar gets arrested, one NXT superstar walks out of the company, New Japan Pro Wrestling is taking the fight to WWE, an upcoming Ruthless aggression documentary, Alexa Bliss's new main squeeze, and WWE is reportedly facing a criminal investigation. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into Smackdown as we look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Let's start off with the good as number 1, setting up matches. The first came during Goldberg's return via satellite, as rumors had already been swirling that he was going to challenge The Fiend, and this was confirmed with the match scheduled for Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia on February 27th. If you were watching yesterday's news, you probably would have already known that. Now again, even though this was via satellite, as we're sure many who actually paid a ticket would have wanted to see Goldberg live in person, it was still a fun segment with Bray Wyatt interrupting Goldberg with an episode of his Firefly Funhouse show, accepting the challenge on behalf of his alter ego. It'll be interesting to see how they booked this one, as they really can't do another Goldberg squash based on how strongly The Fiend has been portrayed. Again, like we said earlier, this might not be a negative, more a positive. Goldberg could be passing on the torch to The Fiend. Who knows, even Goldberg may get squashed in around 10 seconds. Another match that was set up will be for the SmackDown Women's title and will feature Bayley taking on Carmella. There was one other match that was set for Super Showdown, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Carmella won a fatal 4-way match against Alexa Bliss, Naomi and Dana Brooke to earn the spot, which has surprised some fans as once it was announced, many expected the newly returned Naomi to secure the title shot. It could be that they're playing a longer game with her. There has been speculation that this match will also take place at Super Showdown at the end of the month, which will make it the only second women's match ever to feature on a Saudi Arabian card, and the first for a world title. Number 2, we're gonna need a montage. Another good from the show came in the form of the hilarious segment that showed Otis preparing for his upcoming date with Mandy Rose. His tag team partner Tucker helped him to train for the event with a ridiculous Rocky-style training montage. This storyline has become one of the surprise hits of the show over the recent weeks, and we really hope it doesn't play out with Mandy turning on him and breaking his heart. We're too invested in Otis getting the girl at this point. Number 3, rehab for Bryan. Elsewhere, there was a quick rehab victory for Daniel Bryan over Heath Slater. The match showed a more aggressive side of Bryan and ended with a referee stoppage after he refused to release a label lock on the prone Slater. It's another interesting wrinkle to add to Bryan's character, and it's certainly something he needed after his loss to The Fiend at the Royal Rumble. Number 4, a solid tag team effort. We also got a fun tag team match between the Usos and Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, with the Usos getting the pin. This victory looks like it may put them in line for another tag title shot in the near future, which is all good by us. They always put on stellar matches when going up against the New Day. And number 5, the return of the Dirt Sheet. No, we're not talking about Dave Melts My Ice Cream Meltzer, we're talking about the returning segment of Miz and Morrison together. The segment was a brilliant play on various Hollywood trailers, including Quentin Tarantino's latest, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The comedic chemistry between Miz and Morrison has always been great, and it's been fantastic to see them revive it as of late. It's totally revitalized The Miz after his stale face turn and has given the returning Morrison an identity on the show. Keep your eye open for some great cameos from Lance Storm, John Laurinaitis and Miz's dad in the trailer too. It was, dare we say, pretty awesome. But that was the good, let's move on to the bad. As number 1, we're still doing this. Fans thought that seeing Roman Reigns pour dog food over Baron Corbin on last week's SmackDown marked the thankful end of their feud, but Corbin reappeared tonight intent on getting his revenge. His promo was the same basic heel shtick we always get from him, as he threatened to hold a show hostage until he got what he wanted. Roman showed up to give Baron a Superman punch and announced they would do it one more time inside a steel cage. Wow, do we really need another match between these two? Let us just reiterate the point that these two have had 5 one-on-one matches in the past 3 months. Does WWE not think this is overkill? But to hit this point harder, we really have no interest in this one, and the sooner Roman can move on to The Fiend, the better as far as we're concerned. Number 2. Continued burials. Another bad came in the form of a couple of throwaway matches on the show. First of all, there was Sheamus's quick victory over Apollo Crews, and afterwards Shorty G showed up to get some revenge over the Celtic Warrior, but suffered a brogue kick himself. The match really wasn't anything and only seemed to be there to set up furthering the Gable and Sheamus feud. The problem is that Shorty G is being made to look like such a geek here. This guy is an Olympic wrestler for crying out loud. Number 3. Stick to the mic. There was another cold match in the form of Cesaro vs Elias, with the latter getting the eventual win. Look, Elias is a great character and his promos are often very entertaining, but the less we see of him in the ring, the better. He's not a terrible worker, but given the high standard on display elsewhere, he's really not prime time ready. And number 4, is this what it's come to? Braun Strowman's segment also constitutes a bad for this week. While being interviewed in the ring, he was interrupted by Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura looking for an IC title rematch. When Strowman says he'd given him his rematch wherever he wanted, the Revival jump attacked Braun, eventually aligning themselves with Zayn's faction. Braun did make something of a recovery before being laid out by Kinshasa from Nakamura, but it just feels a bit cold once again. All the performers involved are great, but let's face it, Strowman should be a world champion by this point, and it's sad to see how far Shinsuke Nakamura has fallen since his Royal Rumble win. We'll see how it plays out, but don't have high hopes for the continuation of this feud. Luckily, there was no ugly this week, but the only thing Smackdown proved this week was that Raw was the better show. Did you agree or disagree with our points? Let us know in the comments down below. But now let's move on to the news, as our first news looks at a WWE superstar losing his identity. It looks like Buddy Murphy has sadly become the latest victim of WWE talent losing parts of their names, similar to what happened to Cesaro and Andrade. Murphy's WWE profile has been updated to remove his first name. We're not sure why Vince McMahon seems to feel that these names are too long, and we hope it doesn't have any effect on how the Australian is presented on television going forward, given how big of a push he's already gotten. He's also a Paul Heyman guy, so it could lead to a big main event push on the brand. We guess in all fairness, these names kinda stick with us anyway, as whenever you ever heard a person say Biggie Langston. Who knows, the chairman may even change his mind somewhere down the line and give Murphy his full name back the same way he did for Mustafa Ali and Eric Rowan. Next up, an NXT superstar walks out of WWE. It's been reported that WWE NXT superstar Tainara Conti has walked out of the company following a disagreement with management. WrestleBR reported that Tainara refused to work the Women's Battle Royal main event on the January 15th episode of NXT. Since then, she has removed any reference of WWE on her social media page. Did Vince say sayonara Tainara as she walked out? Probably not. Next up, a former WWE wrestler has been arrested. Also in sad news, it looks like former WWE superstar Brian Clark has been arrested. The man who will be most recognizable to WWE fans as the New Generation era character Adam Bomb has been charged with conspiracy, illegal control of enterprise, transporting or selling narcotics, drug possession, and possessing a weapon during a drug offense. This allegedly took place over a period between January 2019 and April 2019. It's quite a long list of allegations, and it doesn't look very good for Clark, unfortunately. He has denied all charges, claiming that the weapon in question was a family heirloom. Nevertheless, he's due back in court on February 19th. We'll be sure to keep you updated on how this goes. Next up, there's a Ruthless aggression documentary incoming. Back in WWE land, it looks like there's a new documentary coming to the network that will focus on the Ruthless aggression era. A trailer was released on WWE's YouTube page, giving us a taster of what to expect, with the heavy focus appearing to be on the period's biggest stars like John Cena, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar. The era has long been considered to be one of WWE's highest points, and with the generation who grew up watching it now coming of age, it looks like this may finally be replacing Attitude Era nostalgia in the public consciousness. We're definitely interested to see how it looks when it's released, as WWE have had a very good track record of producing high-quality documentaries. Next up, Alexa Bliss is dating a singer. Alexa Bliss has been reported to have found love again, according to TMZ. The former women's champion has allegedly started dating singer Ryan Cabrera. Cabrera, most well known for his song On the Way Down, has made semi-regular appearances on Ms. and Mrs. in the past and is good friends with the couple. Apparently, it was The Miz who first introduced the singer to Bliss back in October at an event to mark the Smackdown premiere on Fox. Since then, the pair have attended the Grammys together and were even pictured going on a trip to Disneyland. This isn't the only thing that puts the goddess in the news recently, as she's also the subject of a new song by Bowling for Soup, aptly titled Alexa Bliss. And our final story, a criminal investigation into WWE. WWE's stock have dropped, less and less viewers are tuning into WWE programming every year, and just when you think things couldn't get any worse for them, they are now reportedly facing a criminal investigation. Law firm Levi & Korsinski LLP issued this statement. Levi & Korsinski LLP notifies investors of an investigation involving possible securities fraud violations by certain officers and directors of World Wrestling Entertainment Inc. On its website, the firm has a link to a loss form to see if any qualify for monetary reward. So even though WWE have seen record profits for this quarter, some of that profit could be used to compensate individuals. But there you have it guys, our review of this week's edition of Smackdown included the biggest news stories in the wrestling world. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.